Oh, can't you see? We're running out of time. You're gonna lose your mind if you think you're doing fine. You can describe me, yet but something's wrong. Where are your dreams now, and why don't you feel strong? Yeah, yeah. Every day, every night, you try to find yourself. Don't live your life as someone else.
Ladies and gentlemen, welcome to another installment of the Wrestling Matters podcast. That's right. Hope you guys are well in whatever it is you are doing as you're watching this right now. Hope you guys are enjoying the Monday as well. So, what we're going to do, ladies and gents, sorry, I got a little distracted there. Today, we're going to talk aces and eights. Now, I hope you guys have been enjoying the podcast going from where we are to where we are right now back in the beginning of January. Because, like I said, these are all recordings just to help me incorporate the podcast back in as well. I've got another one coming next week as well, which is quite interesting because I've did a bit of this on TikTok as well. Games Matter on TikTok. But yeah, I'm going to discuss what I discussed on TikTok a little bit more in depth next week. Here's the deal. Today we're going to talk aces and eights. Now, I relegated a question back before Christmas. It was about something about aces and eights. How good were aces and eights? Were aces and eights good? Were aces and eights a flop? Were aces and eights a waste of time? Whatever. I'm going to talk to you about that. Right, first of all, aces and eights were a group in TNA that invaded TNA and pretty much caused havoc in TNA for many, many months. Nobody knew who they were. Nobody knew what they were. They were just a bunch of guys coming in and just raising hell. I'm going to go through the list because I've actually got the list up of who the members were. Bully Ray was the eventual president. He became the president, I believe, March 10th, it says here. March 10th, 2013. Brooke Brooke, I just call you Brooke, came in as the First Lady as well. Gary Bishop was also a member, the so-called referee in TNA. Mike Knox, who's now in NWA. Devon was the Sergeant at Arms. He was the first real member that was revealed. He was the first member that was revealed, and he was revealed at the Bound for Glory pay-per-view when it was Sting and Bully Ray playing the babyface against members of Aces and Eights. He shocked the world, and even shocked Bully, but obviously we all know Bully knew it all along. Taz was in there as well, the spokesperson. He eventually joined during the Brooke Hogan Bully Ray win. Wow. D'Lo Brown became vice president. He was vice president at one. He was the first vice president because Kurt Angle jumped the club of the Aces and Eights and beat people up to the point where he ended up pulling the mask off and revealing D'Lo Brown. The next week, D'Lo Brown officially revealed himself as the new member of Aces and Eights. Doc, Luke Gallows, as well. He came in. There's a few other members that I'm not really familiar with as well. Mr. Anderson even came in as well, but he was recruited to the Aces and Eights. But he ended up being the Perry Saturn of Aces and Eights because the reason why I compare him to Perry Saturn is because Perry Saturn was the reason for the Flock demolition. He was the reason for the Aces and Eights going to shit, pretty much, or officially going to shit. Wes Briscoe was in there as well. Even Tito Ortiz, God bless him, was in there as well as the second Sergeant at Arms. But he came in because this is when they were having beef with the Main Event Mafia, the new Main Event Mafia, and I think they were trying to build Rampage and Ortiz for an MMA show. And Rampage came in as the member of the Main Event Mafia, and Ortiz came in as the member of Aces and Eights to counter the Main Event Mafia. So yeah, it was just but yeah, Ortiz came in and he didn't last long. He was there from August 29th to September 12th, 2013, and then Bellator MMA pulled him out of TNA as well, which I'm sure they did with their Rampage as well. Sergeant in Arms was forced. Devon was forced to leave the company after being pinned in a 5-on-5 tag match between the Main Event Mafia and the Aces and Eight. Whoever got pinned must leave, submitted must leave TNA. D'Lo was demoted to prospect May 2nd of 2013 after losing an I Quit match against Kurt Angle. Later left the stable and the company. Doc left the company due to, it was explained on screen that he turned in his thing on after losing to Vice President. There's more to that than meets the story, which I'll get to in a second. Velez was a member for one night only at the World Cup of Wrestling. I don't remember that one, if I'm being honest with you. Yes, the Mike Prospect, it says here Mike Prospect from September 6th to 2012 to September 6th, 2012. Yeah, that was because TNA itself got information out of it. Impact got information out of him. Austin Aries beat him up in the corner and got information out of him, and obviously he was ejected. CJ Doyle, Kurt Angle unmasking him on August 23rd of 2012. However, he wrestled as a masked member of the faction at Final Resolution, which made no sense. Yes, we all know the old thing. I'll get to the Mr. Anderson one in a second. Wes Briscoe kicked out after a lost a match. And Bates made an appearance portraying a stagehand who helped the faction to abduct Hogan and Sting, which led to the match led to the eventual match at Bound for Glory with a tag match, which eventually got Bully Ray in as well. But yeah, the whole TNA Aces and Eights could have been, but I think they got drowned out a little bit more for me. They were a great faction. They were new. I think they were taken from an idea from a film in 2008 called Aces and Eights. But they were different. They were different. They were not like any other group we've seen in wrestling. NWO, Horsemen, DX, and the list goes on and on. These guys were a biker group. When was the last time you saw a biker group in wrestling? Right? When was the last time you saw a biker group in professional wrestling? Never was. So these were cool. These were great. I even enjoyed the theme song as well. There was an instrumental of the theme song, but they didn't debut the lyric version of the theme song. The guy who sang it was actually Dixie Carter's husband. They didn't debut that until after Bully Ray eventually revealed himself as president and won the World Heavyweight Championship at Lockdown. Right in the front, right in the face of Hogan. But, yeah, they were a good group. They caused havoc. They raised hell, and they did what they were supposed to do. And heck, Aces and Eights gave the platform for Bully Ray to be a singles wrestler. Okay, to be a singles wrestler, because we all know he was in Team 3D. Basically, Aces and Eights was also the reunion of Team 3D, as well, or Dudley Boys, whatever you want to call them. But it also gave Bully Ray a platform to be a great singles wrestler, and he was a great heel, and in my opinion, a great TNA World Champion, because he carried that, and he did what a leader should be. You know, Hogan with the NWO. Triple H and Shawn Michaels with DX, people like that. Even Ric Flair with the Horsemen, he was that good leader of the group. And like I say, it put him over because not a lot of people thought that, oh yeah, Bully Ray, he can't be a singles wrestler. He can't be that singles wrestler. He's more tag team and everything like that. It worked. But the whole downfall for TNA, the whole downfall for TNA wasn't it wasn't Aces and Eights' fault. The whole downfall for Aces and Eights, I mean, it wasn't Aces and Eights' fault. Everybody thought, oh, it was Aces and Eights. No, it was the company's fault because they were in financial problems. That was the whole reason for Aces and Eights eventually going to shit. I mean, I'll give you an example. Luke Gallows, he was a member and a proud member of Aces and Eights, but they had an angle with him when he left the company. It was explained on screen that he turned his cut after losing a bidding war or vice president bid to Mr. Anderson. And he turned in his cut. No. Well, that's what it was portrayed on screen. The real reason he turned in his cut because he got fired. The company let him go due to budget cuts. The main reason for it. Look it up. Because TNA were in financial problems at that point as well, which was the first of many times they were in financial problems. Trust me, this company, TNA, has been on life support more than any other wrestling company in the world. Thankfully now they've got to Impact and got to where they are right now because they've obviously got new direction and new leadership and they're focused on what brought them to the dance to begin with. They didn't at this point. Okay? That's why they brought in Hogan and everything. All went downhill from there, the financial stuff and everything. And some of the stuff they did nearly put them out of business. And the financial problem was the reason for Doc Gallows leaving. Where Doc ended up going, I believe that's when he ended up going to Japan to join Carl Anderson, Bullet Club. You know, that's when he ended up going there. You know, and everything went to crap. D'Lo Brown got fired because of the I Quit match with Angle. That was the whole thing with that. It all just went downhill from there. And then eventually everyone broke away. Taz was there. He was still doing the spokes thing on commentary. He was the Aces and Eights heel commentator as well. But it ended up coming down to Mike Knox, Wes Briscoe, Mr. Anderson, and Garrett Bischoff. And slowly, one by one, Bully Ray fired them all. They all left one by one. Wes left because he got kicked out because he lost a match. Same with Knox. Same with Bischoff eventually. And heck, even Mr. Anderson turned on him, which was the demise of Aces and Eights. To begin with. And then you had the funeral where they burned the cuts and everything like that. And then Brooke, during the match, Brooke came down, got the hammer, meant to throw it to Bully, but ended up landing on Mr. Anderson, and Mr. Anderson got the victory, which led to the eventual demise. The Aces and Eights are gone. If Bully lost the match, there'll be no more Aces and Eights. And that was the eventual demise of Aces and Eights. But at the end of the day, the downfall for Aces and Eights, at least from what I saw and the way I saw it, was booking and the financial problems of TNA. If they didn't have that, they would have gone on a lot longer than they did. I believe they would have gone a lot longer than they did. Maybe 1-2 years max. I truly believe that. Because they lasted from March 2013 to November 2013. Because Bully Ray, it says here, date in Bully Ray, March 10th, 2013. Date out, November 21st, 2013. That was the match he had with Anderson. Exclamation point on it. But if they didn't have the financial problems, they would have probably lasted a year, maybe a year or two. But we won't know that. So that was the way I saw. But if they had the booking, if they had better booking, because some of the booking was questionable with Aces and Eights as the group. if they had the booking, maybe they would have done something good. Or maybe they would have got something good with it as well. But the booking was one of the downfalls, but the main downfall was the financial problems. Like I say, Gallows left because he didn't left because of any reason. Yes, they portrayed the angle on screen because he lost to a president vote between him and Mr. Anderson. But the real reason he left was the financial problems because he got released from the company, which allowed him to go to Japan to be in the Bullet Club. You know, it's simple, mathematics, simple ethics at the end of the day. And if TNA had watched what they're doing at that point and didn't get into them financial problems, I believe Aces and Eights would have been probably one of the best, if not the best, groups around. I truly believe that. Because they were good, they were fresh, they were different. We didn't have a biker group in professional wrestling. There was no biker group in professional wrestling until they came in. But it was TNA who let them down. You know? Everybody's like, oh, the Aces and Eights would have flopped. No, Aces and Eights were not a flop. The company made Aces and Eights a flop. Straight and simple. Straight to the point. Straight and simple. Man. And it's a shame because, like I said, they'd have been a hit. They'd have been a huge hit. And like I said earlier on as well, Bully Ray as a singles wrestler. That group made Bully Ray as a singles wrestler. That group got Bully Ray over as a singles wrestler. Because say what you want about Bully Ray, it worked. Him as a singles wrestler, being the TNA World Champion, being the guy in the company, worked a treat. It worked an absolute treat. Yeah? It worked an absolute treat. You know? That's all you can say. But it was a shame that it had to end. And like I say, it ended when Anderson, and then they had the funeral. Anderson and that saying goodbye to Aces and Eights. And not only that as well, not only did they have the funeral as well, they actually kept the feud going with him and with Bully and Mr. Anderson. Because the feud kept on going between Bully Ray and Mr. Anderson as well. And yes, Bully blamed Brooke for the demise of it as well, and there was an angle there as well. You know, it's crazy, man. And it was a shame because, like I said, they were a great group, a really, really good group. But yeah, that's pretty much my take on the whole Aces and Eights thing. If you guys agree with that, let me know your reason, in your opinion, your reason why Aces and Eights went to shit. Yeah, I'd like to hear it. Drop it in the comments below. Whether you're watching this on Facebook or whether you're watching this on YouTube. Take your pick. Right. Also tonight, as well. Also tonight. Also next week. Let's just go to next week. Next week, I'm going to talk about Royal Rumbles, because there was a question that popped up on TikTok. Royal Rumble did you like? Right? Royal Rumble did you like? Right? What Royal Rumble did you like, but the wrong man won? I already explained this a little bit on TikTok, but next week I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. I'm going to go into a little bit more detail. So that will be next week as well. Hopefully I'll have a little bit more as well. But like I say, guys, all of these episodes that I'm putting out are just recordings to try and help me get back in the podcast. Sooner or later, maybe March time, we'll kick this podcast off and we'll get it up and running. We'll get it going. We'll get some interviews on and stuff like that as well. But I'm just trying to incorporate my podcast back into its slot, if you will, and trying to figure out how can I incorporate the podcast into what I'm eventually doing as well, because I hadn't done it in 4 years. So I'm trying to incorporate, and all I'm doing it right now is streaming. I'm focusing on streaming and doing all sorts of stuff. So I want to see just where this fits in, and that. But like I say, it's been great to do the podcast again. Hope you guys have enjoyed it, and give it time, folks, and it'll eventually kick off again. And like I say, it's been fun to have it back, man. I'm glad I'm back doing it. I really am glad I'm back and doing it. So, hope you guys have enjoyed this. Like I said, let me know your opinions down below. Like, share, and subscribe to this. There's more. And like I say, I've got another coming next week as well. So, look out for that. And until then, guys, enjoy the rest of your week. Stay safe. I'll see you next week on the podcast. Peace.
Can't you see we are